Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me today to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present, finding a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or a block, pillow, towel, whatever allows your spine and the back of your neck to sit nice and tall, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Asteya. And we've been talking about the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, and that first limb are the Yamas, or is the Yamas. And those are guidelines on how to interact with the world. The third of 5 yamas is Asteya, which is Sanskrit for non-stealing. So we're all familiar with stealing, taking something that does not belong to you. The Yama Asteya comes from a different place. It's the opposite, and its intention is to come from a feeling of abundance. By living our life through the filter of Asteya, we can uncover the abundance that exists in our lives and break the cycle of looking at what we lack. Lao Tzu, who's an ancient Chinese philosopher, is quoted to say, "Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, then the whole world belongs to you." So for our pranayama this morning, we'll kind of do a riff on that idea. And it's a kumbhaka, which is a breath retention pranayama. And it's actually the Antara Kumbhaka, which is the breath retention on the inhale. So it gives you a full feeling in our lungs and in our chest and in our heart. So with our natural breath, we're just going to breathe to a count, count to 4, and then we're going to hold it for 2 counts and just pause. Don't strain to hold it, just kind of pause, and then we'll exhale to a count of 4. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, 1, 2, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, Pause, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. One last time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. You feel that abundance of air, of life in you. So on to our meditation. And this morning I have a mudra that is called Pushpaputa. Pushpaputa. And it means handful of flowers. So it makes one receptive and accepting with gratitude of what the universe has to offer. And to do it, we just make a bowl. We bring our hands side by side so that our pinky and the sides of our hands are touching, and then curve our hands to make a bowl full of flowers, or a handful of flowers. And so we'll spend a few moments in meditation. If you like, I have an affirmation that you could use as well for your meditation. And the affirmation is, I have abundance, nothing is lacking. I have abundance, nothing is lacking. We'll take a few moments. You open your eyes now. We'll start our asana practice, our poses. We're going to start with some shoulder shrugs. We have some planks in our practice today. We'll just I kind of like just rubbing the top of my knee creates that nice circular motion. We'll just kind of relax the shoulders, not wind up tension, trying to release tension. Just kind of loosen up our shoulders as well. And then we can go in the opposite direction. And to today's theme about Asteya, non-stealing, coming from a place of abundance, I want to reiterate a phrase that my yoga teacher shared with our classes, that when you do a pose, if you're doing part of the pose, you are doing the pose. So trying to eliminate that feeling of I'm not getting into the pose maybe the way Terry is, but or the way maybe not. Terry doesn't always get into the pose fully, but what you see in textbooks of yoga, you know, that will create a feeling of lagging, that I'm not doing it, I'm not good enough. And instead, come from a place of abundance. If you're doing part of the pose, you're doing the pose. You are doing the pose. Be grateful and rejoice in what you're able to do. So, you know, the needle always moves. Some days you have a pose that, my goodness, yesterday I was able to do this a little bit more with more flexibility or more balance or more strength, and today I'm not. Each day changes, so just come from a place of feeling abundant, that today this is what I'm doing and it's great. So from that, let's do some sun breaths and some chest openers. So bringing your fingertips to the side, we'll just inhale, lifting our hands up overhead, slowly up so they come together, and then exhale, bringing them down. If you like, you can pause, you know, do that kumbhaka where you're pausing at the inhale too. So inhaling, opening up your hands and pause. And then exhale, bringing them back together. Inhale up. And pause. And then bringing them down. And you can do that, pause if you like, or just create a nice flow for yourself. Go back up again with the inhale. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. And exhale down. And again, inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. And do an Antara Kumbhaka, retaining on the inhale. And relax your hands down. Then we'll go into some seated sun twist. So we're just create a nice flow for yourself, lifting your arms up on the inhale, twisting your torso to one side, bringing your hands down. And then immediately bringing them back up again to create this nice flow, twisting to the other side, coming back down. On the exhale, inhale, sweep your hands up, twist over to the other side. Exhale, bring your hands down. And then sweep right back up again. Exhale, bringing them down. One last time, we'll sweep our hands up, overhead, twist to the other side, and exhale down. Then we're going to roll down on the mat. So you can use whichever way. Today I'm going to have my knees bent. I haven't done that in a while. So I'm just slowly, with my arms outstretched, lowering my back to the mat, one vertebrae at a time, tucking my chin to my chest, and then coming down, bringing my knees to my chest, giving them a hug. Maybe just kind of rock back and forth, give your lower back a nice massage, waking up your spine. Like I mentioned, this is how I begin my practice on the yoga mat. You don't see that, but when I set up my yoga mat, I get on it, and this is what I do. I could probably do this for the whole hour. But anyway, I digress. Let's keep going. So interlace your fingers and wrap them around your left knee, and extend your right foot out and let it hover maybe, I don't know, 6 inches above the mat. And we're going to make circles with both our feet, not just the one that's extended. We'll just kind of create a nice circular motion with both feet. And if it's uncomfortable, you can bring your heel down to the mat and still continue to do your circles. And then we'll go in the opposite direction. And then we'll bring the right leg back up to the chest to give a nice hug. And then with our interlaced fingers, wrap it around the right knee, extending the left leg out. And have that hover about 6 inches above the mat. And we'll do circles again. And then we reverse the direction. And then bring that left leg back, knees to chest, give your knees a nice hug. And then bringing your hands back to the left knee again, we're going to send our right leg straight up to the sky, pointing to the sky with our toes. And then we're going to flex our foot, and then point, and then flex. We'll just keep doing that at your own pace. Point and flex. Point and flex. I can feel a little cramping going on. I probably haven't had enough water going in. It's been awfully hot, and I know I'm not taking in enough water. So I can feel the cramping going on a little bit. And then bring that knee back to your chest. Give both knees a nice hug. And then we'll switch over to the right knee with our hands, extending our left foot up to the sky, pointing to the sky, and then flex and point and flex and point and flex and point and flex. Point and flex. And actually, I could have had both feet going, but if you do, that's great. And then bringing both knees back to the chest, giving a nice hug. And then we're going to roll up. So we're going to tuck our hands underneath our knees, right behind our knees, and just kind of create a nice gentle rocking movement until you roll up to a seated position. And then cross over in front of your knees, coming to your hands and knees to tabletop. So with tabletop, we're going to have our fingers spread out wide, index finger pointing up to the top of the mat. Wrists are right below our shoulders, knees right below our hips, navel's tucked to our spine. Get nice and good, comfy in our tabletop pose. Gently pushing down a little bit so that you create that space between your shoulders and your ears, and feeling that equal distribution of weight in your hands. Then we'll do some head turns. So we're going to gently turn our head and look to the right side, and then back to center, and then keep going over to the left side in a very slow, gentle movement. And you can think about coordinating your breath here. Maybe inhale when you turn and pause, and then exhale, coming back down and around. Inhale, pause. Gently creating that movement so it loosens up part of your neck and your shoulders. I get a kick out hearing all these like gears crunching in my neck in a good way. It's just this sound that occurs. Alrighty, back to center, and we'll start with our cat-cows. So rounding our back, exhaling, sending our head and tailbone down. Then inhale, lifting our head up, sending our gaze straight ahead. Tailbone is up as well. Exhale, rounding the back, tailbone goes down, head goes down. Nice deep stretch. And then inhale, lifting our head up, sending our gaze straight ahead, tailbone up. And just continue on at your own pace. Inhale and exhale. You can do the Antara Kumbhaka here as well. Breath retention on the inhale. Okay, and then we come back to tabletop. And we're going to kickstand our left foot out so it's on the outside of the mat, and send our right foot down to the bottom of the mat. Our left wrist is right below our left shoulder. We're going to do some modified planks, keeping our foot, both feet on the mat, or actually the left foot's off the mat, but we're not going to lift our leg quite yet. So we're going to sweep our right hand from the mat all the way up, and you can follow your hand with your gaze. Just nice, slow, controlled movement up, and open your chest as much as is comfortable for you, and pause. And then bringing your hand back down. And we'll do that 2 more times, so you go at your own pace. Inhaling, sweeping our hand up. And once you reach your comfort spot, your sweet spot, you can pause. And then back down. And one last time, sweeping it up. And then back down. And we'll do that on the other side. So back to tabletop, and kickstand the right foot out. Sending the left foot down to the bottom of the mat. Right wrist is right below the right shoulder. And then sweeping our left hand up. To our sweet spot and pause. And then come back down. And sweeping it back up again. And then back down. And one last time, sweeping it up slowly with control. And then back down again. We'll come back to tabletop and tuck our toes under, walking our hands back, coming into a squat position on the balls of our feet, and then pushing down, coming up to mountain pose. And we'll go through our essentials, our mountain pose, our grounding, all built into one. So our big toes are facing the straight edge of the mat. We're going to lift our toes up off the mat and spread them apart as far as you can. Really kind of try to get them to spread apart. And then bringing them down, lifting the heels up off the mat. And then bringing our heels down. Really feel that connection to your mat, that grounding feeling that comes with mountain pose as well. Also, the essentials of good posture comes with mountain pose. So our legs are straight and strong, gentle bend in the knees. Navel's tucked to the spine, creating a nice long back. Your spinal cord, the back of your neck, nice and long, straight, tall. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked ever so slightly toward your chest. Crown of your head reaches up to the sky. And then we'll take a big inhale, sweeping our hands up and over our head, and then bringing them all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. And just take a moment to check in. How are you feeling today? And then we'll bring our hands to our shins, flattening out our back, creating that nice long spine, back of the neck, sending our gaze down. Just try to create from the tailbone to the nape of the neck, one nice straight line. And then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. Just let gravity take over for a moment. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. We'll bring them up above our head. And as we do, we're going to lift ourselves up onto our tippy toes and do a few sun breaths on tippy toes here. So hands are up overhead, up on my tippy toes. And then I'm going to slowly bring my hands down. And slowly bring my heels back down to the mat. And then sweep them up again, slowly raising the hands, slowly lifting up onto my tippy toes. And then coming back down with control. And one last time, sweeping our hands up, coming up onto our tippy toes, tippy toes. And then back down again. Okay, we'll bring our hands all the way down to the mat. Bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bring our hands to our shins, create that nice long spine in the back of our neck. Send the head, crown of the head down toward the mat. Big exhale. And then sweep our hands all the way up overhead again. And we'll come into some side stretches. So we'll bring our right hand down to our right thigh and slide it down toward our right knee, tipping over to the right. And then inhale, coming back up again. And then bringing our left hand down to our left thigh, sliding it down toward the knee. And we'll come back up again, nice even flow, sending the right hand down. Slowly sending that hand toward the knee. And then coming back up. Left hand comes down. Slowly sliding it down toward the knee. And then coming back up. Both hands come back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go, support our lower back. And then bringing our hands to our shins. Again, bringing that spinal column and back of the neck all in one straight line. And bringing the crown of the head down toward the mat. And then while we're here, we place both hands on the floor or on the mat, right in front of our feet. And we're going to bend our knees and come into a squat here. So we'll just come up on to the tippy toes, onto the balls of our feet and squat. So our hands probably on the outer side of your legs, comfortable. And then we'll bring the heels back down, straighten out our legs, come back to a forward fold. We'll do this a couple of times. So slowly bending your knees, coming up onto the balls of your feet, coming into that squat position. And then bringing the heels back down to the mat as we straighten out our legs. Crown of the head goes down toward the mat. And one last time. Bending our knees, coming up onto our balls of our feet, into the squat. And then bringing our heels back down to the mat, straightening our legs, coming back to the forward fold. Then sweep our hands all the way up, overhead again. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Palms come to the back of the hips. So our feet are about hip width apart. Our fingers are pointing down. Palms are on the back of our hips. Shoulders are relaxed. The chin is tucked ever so slightly in, and we're just going to lean our shoulders back, coming into that supported back bend, to the point where you can feel your breath still keep a nice even flow. And then come back up. That'll be a nice intro to our cobras that we'll be doing. So let's get to the main show. All right, so mountain pose. We're gonna sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale, exhale, bringing our fingertips down toward the mat as we bend our knees, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold, bringing our hands to our shins. And then bringing our hands back down to the mat as we bend our knees. We're going to extend both feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. Plank pose, our fingers are spread apart. Wrists are right below the shoulders. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating the hips slightly so that we don't have a saggy tummy. Heels are pushing toward the back of the mat. And we're going to take our right leg and lift it just slightly up and cross it over and bring it down to the mat on the other side of our left foot. So and then bring it back to its first position, side by side. We're going to lift it up again, cross it over, and touch it down to the mat. And then back to side by side. And then one last time, lift it up, cross it over, bring it down, and then return it side by side. And then knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, coming down to the mat. Hands are right below the shoulders, elbows tucked to the sides. You can do a baby cobra, so that just means lifting your chin and chest up slightly and lifting your hands off the mat. And then bring your hands back down to the mat, coming back down. Then we'll do a regular cobra. So lift our chin and chest up, start to gently push down our hands, coming into cobra. Elbows are tucked to the side. And then come back down again. And then the third one is going to be up dog. So our tops of our feet are nice and snug in the mat. Legs are active. And then we're going to push all the way down into our hands, extending arms straight, coming up into up dog. It's kind of redundant. And then bringing our knees to the mat, sending our hips to our ankles for extended child's pose. And then we'll come back up to tabletop, tuck our toes under, lifting our hips up to the sky, come into downward dog, and pedal out here for a moment. In downward dog, our fingers again are splayed apart, index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Arms are straight and strong, chest reaching toward your thighs, create that elevation in your hips. And then we're going to do a couple of three-legged dogs. But when we lift our leg up, we're going to bring it right back down, but bringing it down on the outside of your opposite foot. So inhale, lift the right foot up, and then bring it right back down and put it on the other side of your left foot. And then we'll lift it back up again and return it to its original position side by side. We'll do that 2 more times. So lift the right leg up, bring it down on the opposite side, lift it up, and then bring it back down side by side. Pedal out. And one last time, lift it up, bring it down on the opposite side, lift it up, and bring it down side by side. And pedal out. And then we'll slowly walk our feet up to our hands, forward fold, and sweep our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. And take a moment for a couple of deep breaths here. Okay, and then we'll sweep our hands all the way up overhead again, bringing them back down to the mat. Forward fold, and then half forward fold, hands to the shins. And then we'll bring our hands both back down to the mat, come back to plank. And then we're gonna bring our left knee down to the mat, kickstand left foot outside of the mat, coming back into the modified plank pose. And this time we're going to sweep our hand up and sweep our leg up, our right leg. So sweeping our hand up, sweeping the leg up, pause, and then coming back down. And nice fluid movements, we'll do that 2 more times. Up, lifting the hand and the leg up, and then coming back down. And one last time, sweeping the hand and the leg up, and then coming back down. And we'll come back to plank. You may choose to stay in the modified plank and do a few more of what we just did, or we're going to do a side plank. So if you'd like to do the side plank, you come back to plank, lift the right leg up, cross it over, place it down, and then pivot over your feet, lifting your right hand up to the sky, and then bringing your right hand back down to the mat, coming back to plank. And if you were in modified plank, you come back to plank, and then lowering down, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then we'll do baby cobra again, lifting chin, chest, and hands off the mat, and then back down. And then regular cobra, lifting chin, chest, pushing down in the hands, lifting your chest up and out. Elbows are tucked toward your ribs. And then coming back down. And the last one is up dog. So again, get your tops of your feet nice and snug in the mat. Activate your legs so that they're nice and straight and strong. And then pushing down into your arms, reaching or pushing down so that your arms are fully extended. And then bringing your knees to the mat. And then bringing your hips to your ankles for child's pose. And then coming back to tabletop, tucking your toes under, coming back up to downward dog. There's a lot of directions. Back, up, down. So pedal out here and downward dog. And then slowly walk your feet to your hands. Forward fold, sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together and palms come to heart center. And we'll do that on the other side. Just take a few deep breaths. Alrighty, and sweeping our hands up overhead. Big inhale, and then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending your knees. Hands come up to our shins for half forward fold. And then back down to the mat, placing them on the mat, setting both feet back to plank pose. And your wrists are right below your shoulders, navel's tucked to the spine. We'll lift our left foot up, cross it over, place it down, lift it up again, and return it back to side by side. Do that 2 more times. Lift up, touch down, lift up, back to side by side. Lift up, touch down on the opposite side, lift up, and then come back to side by side. And then we'll come down, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Come into baby cobra, lifting the chin and the chest up. Hands go off the mat. And then bringing the hands back down the mat, chin, chest back down. And then regular cobra, lifting the chin, the chest, gently pushing in your hands, coming up. Keeping your elbows tucked to toward your ribs. And then slowly returning back down to the mat. And then for up dog, tops of your feet nice and snug. Legs are active and strong. And then you're gonna push down in your hands to fully extend your arms. Come up to up dog. And then bring your knees to the mat. Hips to your ankles for child's pose. And then back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up for downward dog. And pedal out here for a moment. And then we'll do those three-legged dogs. Just crossing over and touching down briefly, and then returning the foot back side by side. So lift your left leg up, have it come down to the mat, opposite side of your right foot, and then lifting back up and touching back down side by side. And pedal out. And we'll do that again. Lift up, touch down, lift up, and back to side by side. And pedal out. One last time. Lift your leg up, touch down, lift up, and then back to side by side. And pedal out. And we'll slowly walk our feet back up to our hands. Forward fold. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we'll relax here for a moment. Take a couple deep breaths. And then we'll sweep our hands up again. And then bringing them back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, hands come to the shins, flat back. Hands come back down to the mat. Extending our feet. Coming into plank position. We'll bring our right knee down to the mat, kickstand our right foot out. And we'll do the modified side planks, sweeping our hand and our foot up off the mat. So sweeping our left hand up as we lift our left leg up. And then come back down again. Sweeping the left hand up. And then back down again. And one last time. Sweeping the hand up, leg goes up, and then back down again. We'll come, and you can continue that, or you can come join me with doing a side plank. So you come back to plank, lift the left leg up, cross it over the right foot, place it down, pivot on both feet, oops, and lift your left arm up to the sky. And then bring your hand back down. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga back down. Baby cobra, lifting your chin and chest and hands up, and then back down again. Then regular cobra, chin and chest, lifts up, pushing down your hands, coming into regular cobra, and then back down again. And then up dog, contact with the tops of your feet. Legs are nice and strong and active. Push straight down to your hands, extending your arms fully to up dog. And then bring your knees down and your hips back down to your ankles for child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop, and we'll thread the needle. So this will hopefully relieve tension that may have been created during the planks. So in tabletop, with your wrists right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips, we're gonna sweep our right hand out to the side, shoulder height, and then sweep it under our torso, and then bring our right shoulder down to the mat, right ears down to the mat, and your left hand can be on the mat, it can be on your hip, or it can be straight up in the air, opening up your chest, whichever you prefer. And then we'll bring our left hand back down to the mat if it's not there already. Gently push into the mat with our left hand, coming back up to tabletop, and we'll do that on the other side. So again, back to tabletop. Bring your left arm out to the side, shoulder height, and sweep your hand across the mat underneath your torso, bringing your left ear and your left shoulder down to the mat. And your your right hand can be on the mat or on the back of your hips or straight up in the sky. And then we'll bring our right hand back down to the mat. Gently push down to come back up. We'll swing our legs off to this one side, and we'll gonna come and roll down onto our backs. I'm gonna choose express method, just tucking my hands under my knees and rolling back. My knees come to chest, I give them a nice hug, rock them back and forth. And then we'll bring our feet to the mat, about hip width apart. And we're gonna do some somatic windshield wipers. So with our legs, we're gonna sway back and forth from side to side. With our arms, we're gonna extend them out at shoulder height. And we're gonna do kind of like little flippers with our hand. One hand will have palm up, the other opposite hand will be palm down. And so we're gonna drop our legs to start to the right. Our left palm is facing up, our right palm is facing down, and we'll gently turn our head to look at the left palm that's facing up. Kind of like a reclined twist, only with a little movement in it. So then we'll come back up with our legs, drop them over the other side, flip our hands, Palm, right palm's now up, left palm down. Sending our gaze to our right hand. And then we'll do that and just continue at your own pace, creating a nice even flow, flipping your hands, sending your gaze to the palm facing up. Flipping our legs from side to side. And this is a somatic windshield wiper. And we'll do a few more of these. Just a nice, gentle, even flow. Relax into the movement. We'll do one more and then meet at the top. And then slide our feet down and prepare for Shavasana. Sending your feet to the corners of your mat, letting them just flop open. Feet go from each to each side. Arms are alongside at an angle, palms facing up. Shoulder blades are nice and snug. And take a deep inhale and pause. And then really exhale, relaxing your body into the mat. We'll do that again. Inhale. Pause. And really exhale, maybe through your mouth, letting your body just sink into the mat. And then one last time, inhale, pause, and really exhale. This morning's poem I have for you is titled, I Worried by Mary Oliver. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing and gave it up, and took my old body and went out into the morning and sang